Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hormuz Freedom Campaign for the AV-8B Harrier in DCS World, where we're now on to Mission 14, Train Hunting. The briefing for this one is that there has been recon photographs of a suspicious train being loaded at a nearby port. Plenty of train activity, it's a very busy fuel refinery, but this one, for some reason, they loaded it completely shrouded to obscure it, a lot of security around there, so something weird is going on, we don't know what it is, and we're going to take out the train before we find out. We do, however, have the added complication that we can't take it out while it's in the middle of the fuel refinery, because if we do, the secondaries might blow up the entire fuel refinery, and that would certainly hamper Iran, but also cause a massive ecological disaster. So instead we're to hover around, wait for the train to leave the refinery, and then hit it. For this we've got a couple of dumb bombs for some reason. I don't entirely know why we've given those for this one, but we also have some laser rockets which are really useful and accurate. So anyway, let's jump into this one.
Enfield Uzi, you guys fixed the tub?
Uzi Enfield, she's firing on all cylinders, purring like a kitten. Is that the voice of an ace?
The ace of spades is in the air, Enfield.
Roger, Uzi. You guys must have run out of Sidewinders since they put you on mud moving duty again.
Uzi fence in. Uzi IP.
Focus. Roger.
1-2-1-1. T-Pod's on. Let's look for the yard. See if you can spot Thomas.
1-2, Roger.
So it does take a little bit of searching for me to actually find the yard that I'm supposed to be looking for. It's a little bit odd that we don't have the waypoint for it, considering it was spotted by recon, so we should have the exact grid coordinates, but it's not actually one that's given to us and not entered in the system, so it does just require us to search. I don't know this city well enough to know where the oil refinery is, but in the end managed to find the train glowing hot on the FLIR display, and so lock it up, try and work out which end is which on the train, decide on one of the extreme ends, turns out to be wrong, it's the other end is the locomotive, but with that all marked and set the TGP to point track, I then call it in.
Focus, Uzi. I have the yard. 3 trains, one with a locomotive, all stationary.
Uzi, focus. Confirm. Orbit there. Do not engage while the train is close to the refinery.
So I do at this point call in Enfield. They are our SEAD flight, and so they're going in to take out all the radar SAMs in the area, and they actually do a really good job at this. And it's just a case of waiting around a little bit while they do their thing for the train to eventually start moving. For some reason it starts going in and out of the station a few times. I was really worried that it was bugging out, but I think it's just a DCS pathfinding thing. In the end it does properly start moving, and then we are a go.
Focus, Uzi. The train is moving.
Uzi, focus. Clear and hot. Use Springfield if needed.
Focus, Uzi. I have spikes from Thor sites.
Uzi, focus. Springfield flight is available. Call them in when the train is moving.
Uzi, copies.
So yeah, I somehow managed to massively stall out there. I don't know exactly what I did. My true airspeed is at 409, so it should have been fine. But anyway, I do manage to recover it. I do get the voice tab prompting me to call in Enfield, but I already have, and they immediately start engaging, and they do their job. They do it very well this time. And so it's just a case of me recovering and then beginning the attack. So here is where I make a mistake. I decide that the laser rockets are my best bet here. They're designed to take things out with minimal secondary explosions. I've used them very well in the A10 before, so was really happy to try them out here, and figure one rocket through the locomotive will be pretty much perfect. Start lasing the target. I've already set the laser to the correct frequency. What I mess up on is I still have the missiles in CCIP mode. I've not actually got them on laser designator, so I have to change a switch on the left hand side, which I don't notice at this point. So thinking these are laser accurate, I just fire in the rough area and fire one out. But as that misses, I realise something is wrong, so instead start firing off several others, and do get a shack.
Focus, Uzi. We got it. Nothing is moving down there.
Uzi, focus. Any secondaries on the refinery?
Negative.
Uzi, focus. Good show. RTB. Picture clear. Texaco 50X.
And that there is technically the mission done. I just need to RTB, but I figure I still have 7 rockets, I still have all of my bombs, and there really doesn't seem to be any air defense in the area, so I decide just to push my luck, let's just try, and for the sake of it, let's try and do a little bit more damage on this thing. Since as far as I can tell right now, all they need to do is bring along another locomotive and they can just continue this train on. So I've got 4 iron bombs, so decide that I may as well try to drop those. I want to give it a go at dropping them in CCRP mode, just for a bit of practice. Now I do enter it correctly that I will be dropping all 4 of my bombs in pairs. What I forget to actually add is I wanted to put this on a interval setting, so they dropped kind of down the length of the train. Turns out that wouldn't really have mattered, since I'm not the best at this, and I drop from quite a high altitude just in case any air defense show up, so pickle away 4, and unfortunately miss completely. It's not a bad miss, but I certainly should have done that at lower altitude. So at this point I still do have 7 laser rockets, and so decide to try and go in and use these now with that actual laser designator function turned on. Do get slightly put out when using these, since there doesn't seem to be any indication, unlike the A10C where you do get the CCIP markers still with ranging information, so instead I'm just kind of visually eyeballing this as roughly in range, lock onto one of the trucks, and then rifle. Now, despite the TGP being on point mode, it does seem to drift a little bit as I approach the target, so I worry, try and adjust it, it overcorrects, and the first shot misses, but then I rifle away a second, and that's a direct hit. And I have just realised that it was not in fact on point track mode, it's on moving target mode. It doesn't find a moving target, so it's defaulting to area, which is why it's drifting there, something I'll need to watch for next time. But I come back in for another pass, different truck locked on, launch away. And that one slams into the target. Since I've still got distance, I then just move the TGP, fire another. Then I do make a mistake. Just as that goes in and hits, I do try and get off a cheeky third one. At this point I'm far too close to the target and I aim far too high, so that one just zips off into the distance. And still got 2 rockets left, so go in again, this time for a side-on pass on this set of trucks. And fire a couple off. This time on the second one, although I am a lot closer, I do aim better using the velocity vector as a rough indicator with a lack of CCIP, and that works really quite well. Now I do come back around for one more pass, this time with guns, just since I've ended up in a nice position to strafe along the line of the train. I do like using the guns when it's daytime. They're quite easy to aim as long as they are not blinded by the tracers. Problem is here I have made a mistake. I did not tell my wingman to orbit before I started going in for all of these. And he's been trying to keep formation, but he doesn't do a good job at keeping formation, and he turns directly over the enemy territory, and he gets hit several times. My gun pass, however, does work. I do get multiple good hits, and then decide to peel off. At this point I just call that good enough and start heading back. Unfortunately my wingman must have taken a hit to his fuel tank, so he calls bingo shortly after. I do give him orders to immediately RTB, but seconds later as I check over he's in a nosedive and he's bailed. So not a perfect mission, but I get back okay. He unfortunately has a long walk. But otherwise I managed to make it back. Here in the background you can see me doing an absolutely awful landing because once again I get confused between this plane's controls and collective helicopter controls, and so instead of slowing down I ramp up the engine power on descent, which just makes everything go wrong. By the way, was a mission complete. We did manage to take out the train, and I think my little series of runs at the end mean that they're going to have a really hard time getting any of those surviving cars actually going anywhere good. Which is very useful since we find out in the next briefing those were some kind of chemical weapon train that was being loaded there, and so good thing that we've taken it out. So yeah, that is it for today. That was quite a fun mission, very different from other missions. Did really enjoy that. Do like the laser rockets quite a lot. Really love them on the A10C2. Glad that they're as fun in the Harrier. Otherwise, I hope you join me for next time where we are down to the final mission of this campaign. So I hope to catch you there. Till then, remember to be kind to yourself and everyone else. Cheers.